Is having to do the PowerPoint, and we're out of. Ann's not here, Jan's not here, Hope's not here, and Steve's not here. So, ta-da! But we do have. There we go. Are we ready? Okay. All right, well, I don't have all the particulars about Mary Keller, like Steve would tell you, but we're very grateful that you're here, and she's going to open our service.
Every night I say a prayer in the hopes that there's a heaven, but every day I'm more confused as the saints turn into sinners. All the heroes and legends I knew as a child have fallen to idols of clay, and I feel this empty place inside, so afraid that I've lost my faith. Show me the way. Show me the way. Take me tonight to the river and wash my illusions away. Please show me the way. And as I slowly drift to sleep, for a moment dreams are sacred. I close my eyes and know there's peace in a world so filled with hatred that I wake up each morning and turn on the news to find we've so far to go. And I keep on hoping for a sign, so afraid I just won't know. Show me the way. Show me the way. Bring me tonight to the mountain and take my confusion away. Please show me the way. And if I see a light, should I believe? Tell me, how will I know? Show me the way. Show me the way. Take me tonight to the river and wash my illusions away. Show me the way. Show me the way. Give me the strength and the courage to believe that I'll get there someday. And please show me the way. Every night I say a prayer in the hopes that there's a heaven.
Thank you, Mary. That was absolutely beautiful to start our service over to start our service today, and we look forward to more music as the service goes along. Good morning. My name is Mary Tuminello, and we're so glad that you're all here, whether you're here on the sanctuary, you're online, or you're watching us later in the week. No matter what your spiritual path is, we are so grateful that you're here because we know you are bringing something unique and wonderful to our spiritual community. And it is our true heartfelt hope that you will take something away from that your soul needs from our service today. If you're here for the first time, we would love to give you a free subscription to the Daily Word magazine. There's a card in the front of if you look in front of the back of the pew in front of you, there's a yellow card. If you will fill that out and mark the appropriate box, we will be glad to get that started. If you're online and you're watching this, you can go on to unitystl.org and click on Contact Us, and we'll get you a subscription started. And if you are in need of prayer, click on the link Need Prayer, or call the office 314-845-8540. Also, if you're here in the sanctuary and you're new, we have a welcoming packet on the table to your right as you're walking out. You're welcome to pick one up and find out all about us. Okay, we have a few announcements. The Community Service Ministry meeting, that was a mouthful, is meeting next Sunday on October the 30th. We haven't had a ukulele concert for a very long time, and we're having one on November the 3rd. This includes a spaghetti dinner at 5:30. And the concert starts at 7. Chuck and Pam will be out on a table in the foyer to sell tickets. This coming Thursday is the last day they will sell tickets because they need a number of how much they're going to make, food they're going to make. We're having a new class start. It's a new member 101 class. If you would like to become a member, this class is required by our bylaws. Now, if you're already a member and you'd just like to know more about our beliefs and our presentation and what we believe and think about, you're welcome to come. Everybody is welcome. There's a sign-up sheet out in the foyer. Let me see, very important. I don't want to forget this. We're having a Thanksgiving, all-unity Thanksgiving service at a Unity of St. Louis South. That's down on Bayless. And it starts at 7 o'clock, and it's on October the 23rd. It's really a great service. Try to come. It starts off your Thanksgiving great. What? November 23rd. Okay, we have great privilege today. We have Reverend Sharon Allmond to do our lesson today. This is her home church. She came here and she started with us. I remember she was a congregant when I first met her, and then she moved on and on and on. And we are so privileged to have her today, and her lesson will be a still voice. What? A still small voice. Okay, now, as I talked about the daily word, we're going to hear from Lance, our chaplain, and he will read the daily word and say a prayer.
Thank you, Mary. My name is Lance Baugh, and I am your prayer chaplain today. I will be, in case any of you have any things you'd like to share in prayer, anything from a concern, a hope, even just gratitude for things going well. I'll be in the back of the church on my left at the end of the service for about 10 or 15 minutes. And I certainly welcome any of you who have anything you'd like to share. Please come and share it with me, and we'll work on it together. And as usual, of course, a reminder that anything you share with a prayer chaplain is held in strictest confidence. Okay. The daily word today is prosperity. With God as my source, I live abundantly. Say that with me, please. With God as my source, I live abundantly. No matter how much I have in the bank, the kind of car I drive, or the house I live in, I know these things are mere manifestations of abundance. The source of all prosperity is God. I look beyond appearances to find a deeper meaning of prosperity. Meaningful work that I enjoy doing is part of my prosperity, not only because of what I earn, but also because of the satisfaction I feel when I use my skills. My house becomes a home when filled with people I love and care for. My financial resources don't diminish, but multiply when I share them generously. As I look beyond the good things in my life to the love, the creative insight, and the limitless flow of divine ideas that brought them into manifestation, I discover true abundance. And from Proverbs 8:18, riches and honor are with me, enduring wealth and prosperity. Okay, let's just take an additional moment to kind of close our outer eyes and contemplate the following affirmation. No belief in lack has power over me. Faith makes all things possible. Standing in faith, I expect the good that can be. Knowing that the key to prosperity lies within, I now open my mind and my heart to divine ideas that inspire me to live richly and with gratitude. Amen. Thank you.
I start my day with love. When I start my day with love, that's what I get more of, is love. I start my day with love. When I start my day with love, that's what I get more of, is love. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. When I start my day with peace, when I start my day with peace, that's what I get more of, is peace. When I start my day with peace, when I start my day with peace, that's what I get more of, is peace. Peace, peace, peace. Peace, peace, peace. Peace, peace, peace. Peace, peace, peace. When I start my day with joy, when I start my day with joy, that's what I get more of, is joy. I start my day with joy. When I start my day with joy, that's what I get more of, is joy. Joy, joy, joy. Joy, joy, joy. Joy, joy, joy. Joy, joy, joy. I start my day with love. When I start my day with love, that's what I get more of, is love.
Good morning. Oh, it's so good to be here. This is home for me, and so it's wonderful to be here with you today. Some of you may know I'm not the best at connecting dots. I can know this and I can know that, but sometimes the relationship just slips by me, you know. Sometimes people will say, would you like to go do, say, for Thanksgiving Eve, maybe. Would you like to go for lunch, or even better yet, would you like to go for dinner, Thanksgiving Eve? And I might say, oh, that sounds okay, but I have to be done by such and such a time. And then somebody else might say, you want to get together in the afternoon on October 20 or November 23rd. Here's Thanksgiving Eve. I know I've got plans over here, but somebody says November 23rd. Thanksgiving Eve, November 23rd. I don't connect the dots always. I have double scheduled myself so many times. You know. Well, one example of connecting the dots happened for me this past summer, and it has really made a profound difference in my life, in a good way. Spiritually, it has helped me tremendously. It came from a book. How many of you have heard of the book, The Untethered Soul? Anybody? A few. Yes. This book is special to me because it was given to me by a good friend and classmate, Lenny Baugh, just a few months before he passed away. He had 2 copies. He gave me one. You know, I'll take this to my dying day because it's a special book. Now, I tried to pick this up several times to start reading it. And I'd pick it up and I'd read a little bit and it didn't grab me. You know, for those of you who like to read, sometimes you have to be kind of caught up in it pretty quickly. I'd put it back down again. Still going to keep it, but I hadn't done much with it. And that changed when Vernetta Holmes, who is the spiritual leader up at St. Charles, where I was before I retired, Vernetta decided to do a series on this book. And so I thought, well, this is a great opportunity. I've got the book. I've been wanting to read it. For some reason, this time I picked it up and it right away just grabbed me right up. I recognized myself immediately. Let me share why. Chapter 1 starts, it says, the voice inside your head. Right away, I started getting kind of prickles down my spine. I think I have at least one voice. And then there's a quote that starts it, and it says, shoot, I can't remember her name. What is her name? Darn it, here she comes. What is it? Is it Sally? Is it Sue? She just told me yesterday, what's the matter with me? This is going to be embarrassing. Anybody relate to that at all? I see. Oh my gosh, me too. And the first 2 sentences of this, I'm not going to read the whole book, but the first 2 sentences is, in case you haven't noticed, you have a mental dialogue going on inside your head that never stops. It just keeps going and going. It does for me. I have entire conversations with people, you know, that, did you ever wish that you had replied in a way, and then you go back and you over and over again have a whole different dialogue? I've done that. Just like this here, do evaluation sort of as things are occurring. It's just a constant thing. And I've noticed this before too. There's a narrative often that's going on. It could be anything. I have, let's see, page 11. There's some examples that I think are great. say you're driving along. So, look at that dogwood. You're by yourself. In your mind, you're saying, look at that dogwood. The green leaves are so beautiful against the white flowers. Look how many flowers there are there. Wow, it's so beautiful. You narrate your whole life, in your head. Why do we do that? We're very much aware of what's going on. We are equipped with a body that is able to take in all of the sensory information. There's a tree, a beautiful tree. We can experience that without having to talk about it, without having to put labels on it, without having to put any evaluations or judgments. But what he says, Michael Singer is the author of this, what he says is that makes us more comfortable in our minds. I'll share with you what he says here. By narrating in this way, just talking about explaining things, it says, it makes you feel as though things are more in your control. You actually feel like you have a relationship with whatever it is that you're seeing and saying in there. And then he says, a tree is no longer just a tree in the world that has nothing to do with you. It is a tree that you saw, labeled, and judged. Now think about that just for a second. I find myself, as I've been examining this mental chatter that's always going on, I find myself talking about, in here, thinking about, evaluating, and judging lots of things. People, cars, lawns, I mean, you name it. It's going on in here. It's just going on. Well, a voice in my head, yes, it's there, and it goes nonstop. And we've heard about a still small voice. Is that it? No, not by a long shot. It is not. Well, what's going on then? When we look at who hears this voice, you've got the voice that's chattering on and on. Isn't there a part of you that hears that knows that, is aware of what you're saying in this chatter? There is. He calls it the experiencer. I, for years, have called it the observer. Who has had an experience in their life where you become aware that there's a part of you that is kind of riding herd or noticing what's going on? Anybody ever have that? I see some nods, yes. I've had a couple of really profound experiences. One was a horrible argument that I was having with my then husband. Horrible argument. And in fact, it was the next day I decided that's it. It was the beginning of the ending. In that, as that argument was going on and in the immediate aftermath, I was aware that there was a part of me that was noticing how upset I was, how worried, concerned, afraid, maybe even of what I was going to do. And in that moment, there was a part of me that knew I needed to talk to someone, a friend, somebody that was rational, that could get me calmed down. And I did that. I mean, it was not quite like an out-of-body experience, but it was a sensation of there is a part of me that sees what's going on, that hears all of these things, that notices that I'm crying and really upset. Another example was when I back in the day when I used to jog. I never say run because it never got fast enough to be called a run. It was a jog. But I went out for a jog, and not too far into it, I fell. And my knee, must have hit hard on my knee, and I looked down, and I saw like a goose egg beginning to develop on my kneecap. I had never seen that on my kneecap, and it kind of worried me. This is not supposed to be here. Is this something really wrong? I turned around, I went home, And I thought, let me just get quiet here for a moment and think about what I should do. And just in that quietness, it was a knowing. It wasn't a voice. It was just a knowing that I needed to sit down for 30 minutes with ice on my knee. So specific. It was unusual because it wasn't something I searched through my memory and came up with. It just was kind of like, bam, do this. I did it, and the goose egg went down, and all was well. There was no damage. So I have had a firsthand experience of this. I called it observer, this experiencer, for a long time. So here comes the connect the dots. What do we teach in Unity? We teach, we have the divine within. We teach that there is a still small voice that is divinity talking to us when we can hear it. The dots I connected was, what if that experiencer is my higher self, is my Christ self? Now, I have told other ministers, other friends, and some of them went, yeah, they connected the dots a lot sooner than I did. But for me, this was a huge thing. I had it made it like a personal experience to have this oneness. My higher self and I, we've already gotten to know each other. It was pretty amazing. Now, having this chatter going all the time, and some people call it monkey mind. Have you heard that expression, monkey mind? Yeah. And the voice that goes all the time, is there a problem with that? Not really. You need to hear that sometimes. I mean, if I'm going to plan a lunch for someone, or I need to be thinking about it. I need to put some thought into it. I have rehearsed talks in the car. On the way home from work last night, I rehearsed. So some of the chatter is good. It's fine. The problem is if we are listening to it all the time, if we are engaged in it all the time, we won't hear the still small voice. Think about going to a movie. When we step into that theater and we get our seat and we get our food or drink or whatever we want, and the movie starts, if we like it, if we get pulled in right away, we are in that movie. We forget about the movie theater, we forget about the seat that we're in. We may not eat or drink anything for a while because we're so into the movie. In reality, you're sitting in a theater, in a seat, watching a movie, but you've become a part of the movie. And that doesn't end until the movie's over and you get up and you walk outside. Engaging with this chatter, with this monkey mind, this internal voice in your head all the time creates that for us. It creates that situation where we're always tuned in, listening, waiting for the next thought, waiting for the next utterance that's coming out. Problem with that is then we don't hear the still small voice if and when it can come through. So what we might want to do is sort of like when you go to the movie and it's okay, it's not great. You are still very much aware of your chair. You're aware of, oh, I've got popcorn. I'm going to eat some while and you're watching the movie, but it's not with that total absorption. So having an awareness that there is that experiencer, that observer within us all the time, if we just sort of keep close to it, just be aware of it so that then we can hear that. It can really, really be helpful in changing us. Driving is another example of being so caught up in the chatter. Did you ever drive someplace, get there, and then not remember the trip at all? Yeah, for me, that's scary. It's like, holy cow, I don't remember anything that I just did. Now, up until I had the dots connected, when I wanted to commune, get in touch with that still small voice, the divine. I would do that in prayer and meditation. And that's still good and maybe even best for me to take a good amount of time for meditation. It isn't replacing that. What it is doing, this awareness, it can, is to have periods throughout the day where you notice more often. And just in that moment of, oh, I'm engrossed too much in what I'm saying about the countryside. I'm engrossed too much in talking with whatever the situation is. Let you have a step back. Also, around the time I was putting this together, I happened to be dropping a book off at the library, and I noticed speed bumps. When you look at your reaction to speed bumps, what happens when you think about them? Sometimes it can be frustrating, right? Oh, I got to slow down, because what happens if we don't? You know, it's not good for the car, and it certainly is a jolt. Speed bumps are there for our safety and our well-being, and it is good for us to slow down so we don't rattle ourselves in the car. Likewise, if we can slow ourselves down during the day so that we can then remember, oh yeah, I want to be the observer, I want to be the experiencer, just to be present in the moment. It's very helpful, very helpful. So there might be some ways of creating your own speed bumps. One might be to decide that you're going to journal a little bit, a couple times a day, maybe first thing in the morning and then in the evening. You know, just sit down and be aware of that still small voice and take time to do that. When I was a very young person, 18, 19, I guess, and worked at the phone company, it was before a whole lot of mechanization happened, and one of the things that the clerks in our office did was work on something called the peg count, and I don't even remember much about what that was. All I knew, or all I know, is that at certain times of the day, something will go off, a bell or something, and the operators will all stop and they will write down, this was for long distance circuits, and they will write down, I guess, how many were in use, and that was their peg count. They would send those in, and then that was used for data. So that's not a bad idea, you know, just to have an alarm or something that will stop you certain times a day. We have watches that will do that. We have our phones where we can put an alarm on so that it set it up for 10:15. You stop whatever, it goes off, you stop whatever you're doing, and just take 30 seconds to become aware. To step back from what's happening, maybe in here, or even a situation like this. We are here, we are involved with each other, we're aware of our thoughts and our feelings, whether it's warm or cool, we're aware of all that. But for just a few seconds, you step back and let yourself be in the now moment. What are you experiencing? What am I experiencing? And then move on to the next now moment for about 30 seconds. It's very powerful. So what this allows is it allows us to be more in connection with our higher self. And like with any kind of prayer and meditation, what we see is an enhancement of prosperity, like our daily word, or our peace, or our guidance, as we heard in the song. All those things seem to be expanded when we have increased prayer time or we are supplementing with this, take a minute to be present in this moment. Let me tell you an example of what I experienced, because I've been practicing, I've been trying to do this ever since I connected the dots. Any of you who know me know that I love pets, right? And I've had dogs, many, many dogs. And just last month, I had to have my little Mindy put down. She was 15 and lots of health issues, and she got a respiratory infection that seemed to be bad. Anyway, it was time. I kept telling her, I do talk to them. They don't answer so much, but I told her, let me know when it's time. And then I did. I knew, because she was moving around very uncomfortable. Wherever she would go, though, I have to do this without crying, she would do it. She would lay down so she could see me. So she was letting me know it was time. Now, I have been to vets to have my dog put down many, many, many times. Every time I go, I get to be just sort of a sobbing mess. I cry, In my desire, I guess, to experience, what's going on, that's what I was doing. Since I did this, though, I was still aware of the sadness that I was feeling, the relief that she was not going to be suffering anymore. I noticed all those things, and something else came in, and that was, I realized I had a desire to make the experience the best it could be for her. I wanted her to feel the love. I wanted her to feel peaceful and certainly not feel any fear or anything like that. Well, it worked. I went there and I was teary but not sobbing. I took her in and held her, was very present, and it became a beautiful experience, just beautiful. I was still sad and I was still relieved that she was gone and better, but she was right there and very peaceful, and I know she felt the love and I felt her love. It was an amazing, it was a very sacred experience. So I think that as we do this, as we put more and more importance and effort into being an experiencer of our own lives, we can choose when we want to do the chatter. We're all going to do it, just how much do you want to do and how often. But when we can do this, it's going to just make a huge difference in our experience of life. I use an affirmation and have used it for years. Mary was talking about it, I've done a lot of stuff. I was ordained in '02, and so I served ministries until 2018 when I retired. But something I used throughout all of that time was, God and I are one. I knew that, I believed that, I experienced that to the degree that this connection was sort of ethereal. This has put meat to that. God and I are one, and I feel that now with the awareness that this observer, this experiencer that I have, I now know more personally and up close. It really puts a whole lot more meaning into God and I are one. So with that thought in mind, will you please join me as we share our unity statement of oneness? So together, there is only one presence and one power in the universe and at work in my life, God, the good, omnipotent. And so it is.
In the silence, there is a sacred place, a secret meeting place. Love is there. In the silence, where every color blends and every rainbow ends, good is there. In the light the silence. Your path is paved in gold, and all your dreams unfold. Love is there. Peace is there. Truth is there. God is there.
If you haven't already, I invite you to close your outer eyes and let those words sink into your very heart in the silence. God is there. Love is there. Let's just fill ourselves with that awareness. Totally put your attention and your focus on that thought. God and I are one in this moment. I am God in expression right now. Charles Fillmore, our co-founder, talked about that space, that heart space, as being the connection, the communication of human and divine. And so it is, if it's helpful, imagine that your energy, your focus is centered right there in that heart space, in love, in the divine. And as we are focused there, we look out. In our mind's eye, we look out at our life situations. We look out at the world situations. We are safe in this heart space. We are all knowledge, all love, all wisdom, all peace. And we're looking out. As we do so, we are in a position to do what we are here to do, which is to be the expression of the divine, to be an expression of the Christ. And as we sit in love as love, as we sit in peace as peace, when we sit in joy and as joy, we spread that Christ energy, that love, that peace, that joy. It emanates from us and just moves outward in amazing ways. As we do so, we are in that open, receptive state where we are receptive and willing to receive guidance if that's what we need and want. We open our minds and hearts to divine ideas and trust that they flow to us as we are willing and ready. As we sit here with our attention and our focus on that heart space, just exuding love and peace and joy, we let the energy of all of those God qualities fill our bodies. The divine blueprint for each of us is wholeness. And as we sit in this divine energy, our bodies respond by going, oh, that's right, I felt this before, and move toward that. as we sit, and as the word was for today, prosperity. Prosperity is an amazing, abundant amount in all things, in love, in finance, in relationship. We have that. We are so very grateful for the awareness that this is truth with a capital T. We are so grateful that we have refuge, we have resource, anytime, any place, by remembering the truth of who and what we are. We are Christ in expression. We may have a voice in our heads, but we, more importantly, have that higher self, that Christ, that experiencer, that is all love and that wants and needs only good for us. We take just a few moments in silence to really experience this heart space, this love and peace and joy that we are in the silence. As we come back to this time and this place, we come back with this renewed awareness of our truth. We come back being able to plan to go out into our lives this afternoon and tomorrow and this week as that higher self, being the experiencer, walking through life moment by moment, being willing to be our highest self. So in much love and in much gratitude for all the blessings that we are and that we have, we say thank you, thank you, thank you, God. And so it is. Amen.
Why should I feel discouraged? Why should the shadows come? Why should my heart be lonely and long for heaven and home? When Jesus is my portion, my constant friend is He. God's eye is on the sparrow, and I know God watches me. God's eye is on the sparrow, and I know God watches me. I sing because I'm happy. I sing because I'm free. For God's eye is on the sparrow, and I know God watches me. abode. God's tender word I hear, and resting on the goodness, I lose my doubts and fears. Though by the path God leadeth, my constant friend I see. God's eye is on the sparrow, and I know God watches me. God's eye is on the sparrow, and I know God watches me. I sing because I'm happy. I sing because I'm free. For God's eye is on the sparrow, and I know God watches me. God's eye is on the sparrow, and I know God watches me.
Thank you, Mary. That was absolutely beautiful. And we want to thank Czech, too, for leading us in our songs. Couldn't do it without you. Okay, now is the time to bless our offerings. We are so grateful for those who have sent in offerings to support and sustain our ministry and to help us pass it on to others. If you're in the sanctuary, we have a tithing and offering box in the back of the church. If you're online, you're welcome to go on our website, unitystl.org, and click on the donate button. If you're watching this YouTube video, you can go down into the descriptions and check the box. But know that we are always grateful for all the support, whether you're in the church or you're online. Let us say the prayer for the blessing together. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God. If you'd like to stand and say the community song, Go Not Abroad in Search of Him. Chuck?
Go not abroad in search of him, to no foreign land repair, nor to the depths of caverns dim, nor heights of upper air. O gift of gifts, O grace of grace, that omnipresent good makes of our heart his dwelling place in loving fatherhood. So wander not in search of him, but to thyself repair, where silent reverence gains within, and thou shalt find him there.
What a perfect song to bring the lesson all together. Now that we've come to the close of our Sunday celebration, let us join together in the the expanded version of the prayer of protection. This version brings in the power of God and also the power of the Spirit within. The light of God surrounds us. We are the light. The love of God enfolds us. We are the light. The power of God protects us. We are the power. The presence of God watches over us. The presence indwells us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Okay, now I want to thank everyone for coming or being on the line, and please remember that as you go through your week, we bring you love and peace. Also, if you're here in the sanctuary, come down to a fellowship for coffee and conversation. Mary will do our closing song, New World in the Morning. Thank you, and have a great week.
Everybody talks about a new world in the morning, new world in the morning, so they say. I myself don't talk about a new world in the morning, new world in the morning, that's today. And I can feel a new tomorrow coming on. And I don't know why I have to make a song. Everybody talks about a new world in the morning. New world in the morning takes so long. I met a man who had a dream he'd had since he was 20. I met that man when he was 21. He said to many folks, just stand and wait until the morning. Don't they know tomorrow never comes? And he would feel a new tomorrow coming on. And when he'd smile, his eyes would twinkle up in fun. Everybody talks about a new world in the morning. New world in the morning takes so long. New world in the morning never comes.
Prepare the way. Feel the